Authorities at Ngurah Airport in Denpasar are now implementing the new domestic travel rules. Confused? Stay tuned. Selamat siang. Welcome to the latest news from Bali and Indonesia. This is August 31st, 2022, and my name is Bruce. What is the weather like today here in Buleleng? It is 29.1 degrees Celsius, humidity 66%, and wind speed 8.4 kilometers per hour. Thanks to all of you who wished me well with my doctor's visit. Good news, I do not have glaucoma. Bad news, I have cataracts. So just going to have to deal with that issue. So you may see me looking down a little closer at my screen than usual. The big news is the news from the other day, but it's another SE out about the same thing, and we're going to get to that in just a second. Let's take a look at the numbers. National new cases, 5,070, up from the other day. National recoveries, 4,510. National deaths, 20. Bali new cases, 103. Bali recoveries, 125. And Bali deaths, 4. So the numbers are still in the same range. And the positivity rate is also 10.8. Nothing new on the COVID front, except that the government wants more boosters. And we're going to talk about that right now. Note, these are the new travel rules for Bali Ngurah Airport. Prepare a booster vaccination center. So the airport has begun to apply the latest travel rules. This is in accordance with the circular of Ministry of Transportation number 82, 2022. And so the other day I was talking about the Satgas SE 24, and now we have the circular from the Ministry of Transportation 82, which says the same thing, really. These are guidelines for the implementation of domestic travel by air transportation during the coronavirus disease 2019 COVID-19 pandemic. And the rules apply to domestic travelers PPDN, right? Remember that? On August 29th, so 2 days ago, it was supposed to start. The other day, there was a mention from Peter saying that they're not checking anything on the ferry that goes between Bali and Lombok. Okay, now, I don't know, are they going to start checking it now? If you are going back and forth and you're on the ferry, the car ferry, or any kind of fast transport, leave a comment so that we get an idea. Are they really implementing this? Are they checking on things? I'm interested in both locals and foreigners. Pak Handi from the Airport Authority explained that the application of the latest air travel is in accordance with number 82, the SE number 82, but it has not had an impact on flight operations. He said there's been no change in departures or arrivals. He said that during this month of August, the airport served 21,000 PPDN passengers per day, domestic passengers per day. And he also said that there is a booster vaccination center still available at the airport. It is at the domestic arrivals area, and it is open from 9 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it has been in operation since July. And he said it's not just for travelers, anybody can use it, and if you're planning on traveling, you might want to come and get your booster early. So let's review what the SE is, because this SE says the same thing. So every domestic traveler is required to use the PL app as a condition for traveling domestically. Okay, has anybody checked the PL app? PPDNs 18 and over must have received the third dose of vaccine, the booster shot. PPDN with status of foreign citizens originating from overseas travel with the age of 18 and over must have received the second dose. Now, there are some questions about this and how this is going to be interpreted. Now, some people who spend a lot of time talking about this stuff and reading these originals and poring over the exact phrases say that the originating from is an issue, because some people might be reading it as you come in, you fly in, let's say to Bali, and you get here and then you spend 24 hours or something in Bali and then you want to go to Lombok, no problem, you got 2 doses. But let's say that you're here for 2 weeks and then you want to go, how is that going to be interpreted? There are some questions about that. And so if I was you and I was going to travel somewhere, I would check with the airline first so that you don't show up and get turned around. So as usual, confusion, nothing is clear on these things, unfortunately. There's always something open for interpretation. Now, of course, for people that live here, that are residents, you do have to have the third dose, according to the airport authorities. So I have to have the third dose. A gray area are those people that are on the B211 and have been here for a while, and they want to travel, let's say, to Labuan Bajo or Sumbawa or Raja Ampat. Are they going to be allowed? All I can say at this point is check with the airlines and make sure. Okay, let's get back to the regs here. And so PPDN age 6 to 17 have to have received the second dose. That's for residents. PPDN 6 to 17 from overseas travel are exempted from the obligation to vaccinate. PPDN under the age of 6 are exempt but must travel with a companion who has met the provisions of the COVID-19 vaccination. And PPDN are not required to show a negative result of either the PCR or the rapid antigen test. And that is out. No more tests. You can't do 2 and then test. So this is just like I was talking about the other day, except that this one is coming from the Ministry of Transportation. PPDN with special health conditions or comorbid diseases that prevent travelers from receiving vaccinations are excluded from the requirements and are not required to show any tests, but they are required to attach a doctor's certificate from the government hospital stating that the person concerned has not or is not able to take part in the COVID-19 vaccination. Okay, so clear? Confused? Yeah, me too. I'm kind of clear, kind of confused. I know what it is for me, and I know what it is for Indonesians, what it means for foreigners coming in. Wow, it's up for interpretation. But I'm guessing, and this is just guessing, that the reason that happened, that the foreigners were excluded from this, was to get them to travel, like I said the other day. And so I would be surprised if you come in here, let's say on a VOA, and you're in Bali for 2 weeks, and then you want to go to Gili Trawangan or Nusa Penida or wherever, and you want to travel, and they say you have to have a booster. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's always good to check first. You know, I'm a very cautious traveler, as I've said for the past 2 years, and so I always check on requirements because I hate getting to the airport and finding out that there is a problem. Okay, so why is all of this going on? Well, COVID-19 booster now mandatory for domestic travel as the country tries to increase its stagnant vaccination coverage. While Indonesia has considered a pace with initiatives to normalize travel amid the ongoing pandemic, getting a booster shot was previously not a requirement. People were still able to do 2 shots and then present the RAT or the PCR. However, the new regulation comes amid the country's slowing vaccination rates. While Indonesia was among the fastest countries to inoculate the population in 2021, vaccination rates have slumped ever since, decreasing 83% from February to July. Currently, 86% of the targeted population have had the first shot. 72% of the targeted population have had the second shot, but only 25% of the targeted population have had the third shot. Authorities began to enact a number of regulations in July geared towards increasing its booster shot rollout, including exempting domestic travelers from tests. That was what happened back in July, right? But these changes have generally failed to increase public demand for boosters, as the country's third shot coverage grew by less than 4% since July. According to Diki Budiman from Griffith University, I haven't talked about Diki Budiman in a long time, I like him. He said that the new mandate could help pick up booster shot coverage. He said it's time for the public to get their booster doses, but the government should remember that administering boosters is just the first layer of a pandemic mitigation strategy. The main aspect is still testing and tracing, and he's been talking about this for a long time. Is anybody listening to him? He said the government also should improve its communication strategy. He said officials should explain the benefits with clear and well-presented data. This will also help counteract the vast amount of misinformation spreading online. And the health minister, Pak Budi, said that Jakarta would shift away from its mass vaccination strategy to a more individually targeted rollout by the end of the year in order to keep coronavirus antibody levels high in anticipation of new mutations discovered from abroad. Pak Budi said the government would prioritize vaccinations based on age, health status, and the last shot administered as immunity from the virus starts to wane after 6 months. Okay, so what does all this mean? What are your options here? If you want to travel, get the booster, and then you can travel, no problem. Get a letter from a doctor, from a state hospital, saying that you're exempt. Stay home. Don't go anywhere. That's what I'm doing. Try your luck. Show up and hope that you're going to get through. And last, call the airlines. Now, this is only for people that are here on tourist visas, the VOA or the B211. Call the airline and say, I'm a tourist here and I want to know I've been shot twice and, well, not that good a shot. And I want to know if I can go from Bali to Lombok, for example, on the plane. Will I be allowed to get on? And see what happens. And if you do that, leave a comment below and let us know how that works out. Okay, nothing's easy these days, it seems. Okay, traveling, airlines, and my favorite person, Pak Sandiaga Uno, tourism minister, promises affordable airline tickets by end of the year. So he said in a press briefing just Monday that airline tickets have gone down by 15%, which he believes will open up greater potential for the development of the tourism and creative economy sector. According to him, this price reduction is linked to the number of airlines that have increased their fleets, such as the flag carrier Garuda, CityLink, Lion Air, AirAsia, and a number of international airlines. Both Garuda and CityLink are planning on doubling their fleet by the end of the year. Pak Sandiaga said airline tickets will be more affordable, especially during the peak end of holiday and year-end periods. So you're planning on coming here in December, tickets should be cheaper. Or so the tourism minister says. He said the ministry will push for airliners to open flight routes to new destinations as a means to attract more passengers and help solve the high airfare issue. Previously, state-owned enterprise ministry boosted discounted airline ticket programs on certain days to help attract more people to travel by air. The SOE's deputy minister said a number of air carrier fleets saw a significant drop in the number because of the coronavirus pandemic, and this fleet scarcity has contributed to the high airfares along with the increasing cost of jet fuel. But he agreed with Pak Sandiaga that as the airlines increase the number of flights, the prices will come down. Will they? I don't know. Has anybody seen a drop in airfares, or are they still really expensive? And just a mention on comments, I really appreciate them. I try to get to them, but my eyes are, well, they're really bothering me. And so there's times I just need to get off of the computer for 5 or 6 hours. And that's just the way things are going. And what my ophthalmologist told me yesterday is spend less time on the computer, Bruce. But I do answer all comments as quickly as possible. And more from Pak Sandiaga. He's always got a lot to say. Government working on bringing tourist destinations under single authority. Now, this is interesting. He said he's preparing to bring super priority tourist destinations in Indonesia under single management authority. And guess whose authority that would be? If you guess the tourism ministry, you're probably right. He said, we're currently working on this bill, a tourism bill, especially for super priority destinations, so that there's no more ineffective coordination. And where did that come from? That fiasco over in Labuan Bajo with Komodo and one person saying one thing and another person saying another thing and another person saying another thing, and strikes going on and people being arrested. What a mess. And the same thing with Borobudur, right? There's just so many people deciding what's going to happen in these places. So he's saying we're going to get one authority to deal with this, and what comes from them is going to be the law. Sandiaga said that ineffective coordination could eventually create distortions in society, even as Indonesia struggles to improve the tourism sector. He said the cultural heritage and national parks should be managed properly. He said, we see that there must be a single management authority which can provide information in narrative form. The narration is about what is being done by the government and how the products are being offered. This is supposed to allow Indonesia to reduce conflict and create quality and sustainable tourism in an effort to create jobs as well as benefits for the community. And of course, he discussed on Monday his plan to create 1.1 million jobs by the end of this year and 4.4 million jobs by 2024. Okay, that is it for today. Thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Stay safe, and I will see you on Friday.